What is the future of Sonic is the most important question Sonic fans should be asking themselves. But before I can get to that, let's establish, well, where are we at right now? To give my 2 cents on it, I think the Sonic series is in a fantastic state. Ever since 2022, all of the Sonic things coming out have been at least pretty good. From Movie 2 to Origins, to Frontiers, to the updates, to Dream Team, to Superstars, to Shadow Gens, to Movie 3, to Crossworlds, and Sonic Rumble's coming out, so there's just been a lot, and all of it has been really good. Now that doesn't mean that it's totally flawless. I'm not going to pretend that the quality of the series is like, untouchable or anything, but let's not kid ourselves, the series is not in a bad state. Things are generally really good now. And that's not just what I think, that's what the critics and the sales are definitely saying for this series. The fact that Frontiers is anywhere near 5 million sales is astonishing. While that's not record-breaking for video games or anything, considering the fact that this was a game that had laughably bad first gameplay footage, and that totally fended a bunch of people off by its, less than to be desired graphics, the fact that that game is in the ballpark of 5 million sales is crazy, and really speaks to the appeal of an open-world Sonic game. The critics have been loving the games, with IGN giving the most recent 2 big Sonic games a 9 out of 10. The sales have been looking solid for the series. Things have been generally good all around. But then, last, but, also kind of least, what do the fans think? It's also good to see that the fan base is pretty positive about the series. It's not like the series has totally just turned to appealing to sales and critics. Most fans are happier with the direction that we have right now. I do think that there is a lot of just regurgitating discussions online, but generally most people like the state of the series right now. They have things they would change and things they would do differently, but I think everyone recognizes that the series is in a pretty solid state. So now that I've laid that groundwork, let's talk about the future. And I believe that that next game is pretty close. All the signs are telling. The fact that at the end of next year, Frontiers will be 4 years old. So they could certainly make a full Sonic game in 4 years. So development time is not an issue. We also have to realize that A, it's going to be the 35th anniversary, so that would be a great time to release the game. B, the Game Awards are coming up, so that's always a good time to announce things. And C, the Crossworlds DLC is gonna curiously end right at the end of summer, which would be the perfect time to get people hyped for that next game. So I believe that all the signs are showing that the next game is at the end of next year. So this game, what exactly does it need to do? Well, let's go through all of the main aspects of the game, starting with, well, the most important thing, the gameplay. So for this next game, it cannot be on the level of Frontiers. Frontiers' gameplay was a lot of automated 2D sections that just gave you a little trinket. That was the gameplay. You just keep doing that over and over again. The combat is just a glorified animation player. It's not really a combat system. You just press buttons and you get to see a cool animation, and sadly, that's about 90% of the depth. The cyberspace levels are just reused assets and reused level design that have clunky controls and are just not that fun. So all of the main aspects of the game just aren't really that good. But the thing is, Frontiers is still fun because that's not really just like a normal open world. Well, yes, it is Sonic in big environments. The thing is, I think the fact that it is Sonic gives it a little bit of a different flavor. I don't like Frontiers because the world is so investing or because it's so large and there's so many places to go and so many things to see. That's not why I like Frontiers. That's not the appeal of Sonic in an open world. The appeal of this open zone formula is that it is a sandbox open world. Frontiers is fun because I just get to screw around. Getting to just run around and do stupid stuff as Sonic in a big open environment is fun. fun. I don't like this world because it's so interesting and has so many things to see and get myself immersed in the world. While those things are cool, the core reason I like Frontiers is not because of those, because it certainly does not do any of those things particularly well. Like I'm saying, it has that playground, that sandbox feel, akin to something like Skate or something stupid like Goat Simulator. Those games are fun because you just get to screw around. While yes, there are main goals and you go and complete them and there's a ton of fun in that, there's also just a ton of fun in ignoring all the things the game wants you to do and just screwing around, using the movement, using the mechanics in the game to just have fun. That is the thing that I need them to make sure they don't lose in the future games. I want these open zones to not just be like a normal open world. I want it to be an open playground, just a place to mess around and try out all the abilities that you have at your disposal. So that's why I think that this open zone formula works. But digging a little deeper, Frontiers also has combat. But I think that this combat system, I will be very honest with you, I like a few of the ideas proposed by it. They need to simply redo this entire system. Because in Frontiers, it is not a true combat system. Like I said, it's sadly a glorified animation player. It's one of those things I don't really like hearing because, man, the Titan boss fights are so cool. But the combat itself is really, it's kind of bad. I'll just be so honest with you. So while I don't think this combat is terribly unfun, I mean, I have my fun with it, and I think there are a few bosses like Master Ninja that actually make the combat a little bit interesting and can show off some of its good aspects, but they need to rework this entire thing. I'm not some big game designer. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to make a combat system, but I know that there's a lot of combat games out there that they could totally draw stuff from. And I'm a big combat game guy, and honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I don't really know how to make a Sonic combat system that would work super well. All I know is that they really do need to rework this, because Frontiers is painfully jank and frankly a bit boring. And that's my biggest problem with it. It's not that it's too easy or that it's some other thing, it's just the fact that it's not interesting. Nothing about this combat system is like very engaging. Sure, there's a few cool combos you can do and there's some tech to it, right? Like some attacks have certain interesting properties, but once again, I'd say it is glorified animation player, because this animation does this particular thing on this particular enemy, and that's about it. So while there is some potential in what Frontiers offers, I would like to see something honestly totally new. But I'm totally willing to be impressed. If they can somehow take this Frontiers framework and make it something awesome, I'm open to it. The last main gameplay aspect I want to touch on is the linear levels. First off, let's not reuse anything, guys. I don't want to see any reused environments, and I don't want to see any reused level design especially. I don't want to see them continually just keep recycling Jin's assets. That was a big problem with Frontiers, and so while I will talk about the visuals a little later where I can get more into that, that is the biggest upfront issue with cyberspace and Frontiers, is the fact that it's just unoriginal, like it just directly takes from other stuff. But beyond that, the control, I don't know why they changed the physics, but I would say we don't gotta worry about that too much because Sonic Team has shown they know how to make killer boost level design in this same engine. Shadow Jin's is fantastic. I'll be so honest with you, it is my favorite Sonic game. It is the best collection of levels, I think, in the entire series. That's why I love it so much, is because every single level is great. There's not that level. There's not that part of the game. The lowest the game gets is honestly Rail Canyon. But even that stage is awesome. That stage has so many things to go look and explore, so many different pathways, so many ways to optimize it. There's so much there, it's insane. Shadow Jin's has some of the most in-depth level design in the entire series. So they know how to make good level design and a control scheme that feels pretty solid. While I would, yes, make it where the jump does not kill your airspeed and a few things like that, Shadow Generation shows that polished, lengthy, difficult, and interesting level design is fully possible by current day Sonic Team. While I might not expect something to be of the polish of Shadow Generations for every single level, I do expect a similar level of quality. I mean, we're talking double the dev time and surely more people working on it, so I have a pretty high bar for what these levels ought to be. So that's the gameplay. Those are some of the main things I want to see gameplay-wise from this next game. But another thing we also have to talk about is the visuals. This is the talk of the town type of stuff. These are the models, these are the way Frontiers looks, all of this type of stuff. First of all, just the raw graphics. Sonic games honestly have not been looking that great. Shadowgen's did look good, but it could look better, and I just know it could. That's not even a jab at Shadowgen's, it's more just this next game, it could totally look better than anything we've seen. I mean, it's gonna be 2026. I do expect this to be a truly next generation Sonic game. So while I will give Crossworlds and Shadowgen's its flowers, we can do a lot better than this. In a 2026 game, it has to be next generation. That's what I'm really trying to get in here, is that it has to be next generation. This needs to feel like a 2026 video game. This game preferably needs to totally be off of last gen consoles. This has to be PS5, Series X, and Nintendo Switch 2. That is the generation that will be playing this game. So while with environments and stuff, I will praise Shadowgen's for having good looking environments, and I will praise Crossworlds for giving us a few visually interesting original locations, and I do want to see those things in the future, we can do better. And one of the biggest aspects that I think it has been very miserable to debate this online, the models. Yeah, I gotta talk about the models. The thing is, I'm not gonna get into all the little critiques of the model, because the thing is, that does no good. It just makes me appear as if I'm kind of nitpicking. Do I agree with those criticisms of the model? I agree with almost all of them, yes. But the thing is, let's zoom out a little. Let's make sure we're not making the mistake of not seeing the forest for the trees, because what does all this model stuff really mean? It's not just a bunch of nitpicking, it's not just a bunch of obsessing over minor little details, it's that the series is visually stagnant. And I don't even mean that we need to change it for the sake of change, because that is not good. If it was totally solid, then there would be no need to change it. And I'm not just saying we need to change it. Like I said, I'm not just going to change it because, oh look, this model is old. That's not why we need to change it. This series just needs a visual refresh. Sonic, while, like I'm saying, Crossworlds and Shadowgen's, they do look good. I have to give them their flowers. But they still do not feel next gen. They truly do not. Whether that's Sonic Team, whether that is the Nintendo Switch, whether that is the last generation of consoles, all that stuff, I'm not here to tell you what it is, but the Sonic series needs a visual refresh. That is what we are lacking. I need new. It has to be fresh, it needs to be original, it needs to be next generation. That is the main term I really want to nail in. It's not just model nitpicking, it's not just a bunch of little minute details that really don't matter. The big picture is that this series is visually stagnant. It feels behind. Sonic doesn't feel at the cutting edge of visuals. Well, Sonic doesn't need to be, some graphics example. It doesn't need to be the top of the line in every aspect. It just doesn't need to look behind. That's the problem. Sonic looks like he's still on the PS4. And so yes, the main thing is this series needs a visual, a stylistic, a everything regarding visuals refresh. And I would say a part of that is implementing a lot of the criticisms of the way these characters look. Because while I do think that the criticisms of the model are presented in a very annoying fashion, the models do need a refresh. They do need to be changed. Because like I'm saying, these old models, they feel old. They feel dated. Sonic could look so much better than this. This is the best opportunity ever to give Sonic a visual refresh, and so I am very much hoping that they do. The last thing I want to touch on for visuals is the animation, because this is the one aspect I don't really think they need to improve. They have shown that they are really going all in on the animation stuff. Shadowgen's had the best animation in the entire series. These cutscenes look phenomenal. It's crazy. Shadowgen's does a great job of showing emotion. While we may not have the most crazy action scenes or the biggest scale of stuff, Shadowgen shrinks it all down and shows us that they know how to do good facial animation. That's one of the most important things, is that these characters, you can look at them in the face and they convey emotion well, and Shadowgen's did that fantastically. And for animation in the future, I believe that it's only going to keep getting better and better, because the team has recently been doing a lot of experimentation with squash and stretch, a lot of extreme distortions of the model. They are not afraid to break the rig anymore. While some of these, test animations were obviously not made to be the highest of quality, they're made to simply test a very extreme version of these squash and stretches. So, while these animations don't really look that good, their purpose is to show what breaking the rig looks like, what pushing these models further than what is, quote, intended looks like. So I think for animation, honestly, they don't really need to do much. Just keep doing what you're doing, guys, because the animation has looked great in recent games. The final aspect of this game I want to talk about is the story. Now, I'm not the biggest Sonic story guy, so I'm not going to give you some character breakdown or some explanation of how Sonic needs to be characterized or whatever, but what I am going to do is I'm going to say what I want to see from the next story, because the stories do improve the games greatly. The main thing I want to see is that I loved the way Frontiers portrayed its characters. Sonic and Amy and Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic and Tails, they felt like they had realistic friendships. They had fantastic energy. There was a lot of great lines, and especially Sonic and Knuckles, they felt like legit friends. This is the most convinced that these were Sonic's friends I've ever felt. I've never really felt like in many other games that these are Sonic's friends. Sure, it's Sonic's colorful cast of characters, but this is one of the few times that I feel like they are legit friends. They can just have fun conversations about things. Sonic and Knuckles can make a joke and laugh it off. That type of stuff just doesn't happen in this series, like, ever. So Frontiers bringing that to the table is awesome. Please keep that. Keep these characters feeling like they actually know each other, that they are legit characters interacting with each other. Now yes, there is some criticisms you can bring up. A few of the Crossworlds lines kind of suck, and Amy has been, I hate to say it, a little bit boring lately. But I think those are all things that can be fairly easily amended, and I think that those criticisms are far outweighed by how good it has been in comparison. Comparing the good to the bad here, it is just not even close. So while the characters have been getting pretty good depictions lately, the plot of Frontiers, I must criticize. It is just not that good. Its quote, very large quote, twist is just not interesting, like, at all. While it did have a few good story moments like the towers and the cyber corruption, that stuff is cool, but it was just really easily amended by just power of friendship. And then Sage just dies at the end out of like nowhere. Yes, while there's the Final Horizon, which kind of came back and redid the ending, right? But still, it's just... the plot was not that great in Frontiers. The actual events that happen in the game are just not very good, to be honest with you. It's kinda boring and kinda not interesting, to be honest. That's what I'm saying. The characters hard carried that game, which I do think the characters are more important than the plot, to be honest, because if the characters are good, then I will care about the story because, those moment-to-moment interactions are fun. But if your plot's great and your characters suck, then, well, I don't really care about your plot because it's annoying to watch it play out. But that said, obviously the plot still matters. And I think one of the biggest things is that we kind of need like engaging twists at the end to come back. It's been like a really long time since a Sonic game had a legitimately great twist. I think the only two that really affected me, that really hit me, that was like, whoa, that was a good twist, is the ending of Adventure 2 when finding out Gerald was just trying to destroy the Earth all along, then Black Knight having this crazy twist ending. All of that stuff is super cool, and I want to see some stuff like that again. Sonic needs better plots. That's something we need to see again. While I think we've got the characters down pretty well, I think a lot of the core plots of the series have really just not been, they've really not been that good. So outside of a little bit of my plot criticism, I do think writing for Sonic has been really solid as of late, so I don't think that's going to be bad, and I'm very much looking forward to what they have next. So that's a lot of my personal wants. But obviously, I am totally open to a lot of different things, right? So I've given a few particular criticisms, and I'm totally open to them doing something different. Because the main thing is not that this game aligns with exactly what I want. It's not the point that I want to make here. The main thing that this game needs to do is show me that Sonic Team has improved everything. They need to have worked on and drastically improved everything. It may not be exactly what I want, but that's mainly what I need to see from this game. I'm open to whatever they have cooking up. They just need to realize all of the issues from Frontiers and take gigantic steps to correct them. That is the main thing I require of this game. The thing is, all the core aspects that they need to nail, they've almost already done it. They just have to put it all together. We've gotten polish and fantastic level design and a good story as well as other things from Shadowgens. Crossworlds has a good bit of interesting mechanics. There's a lot of mechanical depth to Crossworlds, surprisingly. And Crossworlds shows that they are able to make original locations. Frontiers obviously laid out the formula. All of these things are here. Animation, story, visuals, a little bit, polish, level design, in-depth mechanics, all of it is there. And all of it has been from Sonic Team. So now, with 4 years of development on a mainline Sonic game, there is no excuse. If they screw this up, it is totally on them. It is 100% on them. Unless we find out some insane thing that went down in development, like it was just complete development hell, then there will be no excuse or explanation for the state this game comes out in. So they have to do good on this game. No, they have to do great on this game. So saying all that, let me reiterate, we are on the brink of the most important Sonic game. This game proves if Sonic Team is really ready and willing to innovate the Sonic series. This is the do or die moment. We've taken a step in the right direction, but this will show if Sonic Team is truly willing to take a leap. But to see if they will, well, we're just gonna have to wait. But as for me, I absolutely have faith in this team. So the only thing left that we can say is Sonic Team.
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 Show us what you got.